Yes, guys, thank you for listening and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Dose podcast. Today we have a very special guest in that this guy has been around since pretty much day one. He was one of the figures that helped elevate Don't Flop and the UK scene as a whole to where it is. And honestly, he's just one of my all-time personal favourites. Pamphlet, how the fuck is it going, man?
Easy, man. How you doing?
Not bad at all, mate. Thank you very much for taking the time to come on, man. I really appreciate this. As I said, I've been a huge fan of yourself for a long time.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Before
Yeah, no,
we
it's always good to have a chat about battle rap. It gets too easily forgotten, in my opinion.
definitely, no, I agree, man. And before I do get into any of the questions, like I've I've not got any kind of friends that I've ever been able to get into battle rap. I don't really have any friends that are into hip hop or anything like this, but
I don't really have any friends, so
mate, you will after this episode, I promise you. But
yeah.
the one person that I've ever got into battle rap was a mate of mine from Sweden,
Right.
and I tried him out with I gave him 10 or so battles to watch, and the one that got him hooked on battle rap was yourself versus Frisco.
Oh wow, wicked, cool. I choked
And
awfully in that. I choked awfully in the first round. I've been drinking
did you? I
Captain
don't
Morgan.
remember you choking.
Yeah, no, that was one of the worst chokes I'd ever really done because I hadn't got loads. But yeah, I was about 20 seconds in the first round. It sort of because I had this drum and bass bit to go. Like I wanted to start off a little bit drum and bassy, but then it's like because I'm not a drum and bass MC, I haven't got practice at doing that. So I did it, and it was like I kind of stopped for reaction. I didn't really get any, and then it was like it threw me right off. But I've been drinking Captain Morgan's for about 8 hours before arriving in Manchester. I literally had to walk straight on stage as well. So I was smashed.
Right, fair one, man.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, to me, that just makes it even more impressive that you kind of got that long scheme off at the end of your third. The
Yeah.
whole like the Guy Fawkes, the one that you ended with the Guy Fawkes punch, like
Yeah.
that was incredible. And I
That was
think that's what drew him in as well.
I've got stories for days here. So one about a Swedish fan, right? Funny thing happened with Swedish fans. I was or Swedish people interested in the battle scene. I was in my mum went to Thailand or Bali, one of the two, and she said she was at this resort and she met a Swedish woman. She started talking to her, and her son was there, and he was into battle rap, and he'd heard of me. So she was buzzing that she was in like another continent, and someone had heard of me. But then I was in Sweden battling, and this geezer come up to me, and he said, I was on holiday with your mum." And I was like, "Rah," and it was the geezer who had met my mum.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, crazy, isn't it? Yeah, it's a small world, man. And I sort of like, right, I bet he's got loads of like personals that my mum is giving to my Swedish opponent. But obviously he did. And the other one was since the Guy Fawkes thing. I was supposed my second ever battle on Don't Flop was against Prince Kong at an
Yeah.
art festival that never got released.
Okay.
It was a week after my debut against Hazard, I believe. Anyway, I used to send messages out saying we're doing some weird art festival in wherever. Who wants to come and do it? So I battled Prince Kong, and one of the lines I used was, "I die for my cause like I was Guy Fawkes." And then it never got released, and I forgot all the bars. But then I had this battle was arranged on Bonfire Night against Frisco, and it just come to me. I remember that particular bar, and then structured the entire round, pretty much the entire round on it. Yeah, so that was
Okay.
a
Makes sense.
that's filmed and never coming out, and you get to reuse the bar, so that's always good.
Yeah, definitely. And it sounds like it worked for the best in that sense because
Definitely.
I mean, the whole third against Frisco is phenomenal to be
Yeah,
fair.
thank
But
you.
no, man. But how was it that you got into battle rap from the beginning? Then I know that you've been into it for like a really long time, like back in the kind of
Yeah,
text battle days and stuff like that. But
yeah,
what was
man.
it that got you into it?
Well, I think it was 8 Mile. I think because I'm as the age. I remember I had 8 Mile and Pirate video cassette. Someone had recorded it from the cinema, and then it got transferred to video. So I had that. So whatever age I was when I saw that on Pirates, so just before it came out in England. Okay, are you still there?
Yeah, man, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I thought you did. Yeah, so whatever time that was, I think it must have been about 15, 16, 17 maybe. And this, I always get my dates wrong in terms of how old I was, but I believe I was 17 at the oldest. And I got into it there, and then it was like YouTube was blossoming. So it was like a perfect combination. I wouldn't say YouTube, but there were sort of clip sites online and stuff where you could get 9, 10, 12 seconds worth of these battles. And then YouTube came into effect, and then it was Jump Off. They had their own website, but early Jump Off. So I think the first ever proper new school sort of battle I watched, I say, was Stig versus Mike Assassin on Jump Off out on the street. But it was around the same time. I mean, I sort of got bombarded. I missed the original Jump Off of the Jump Off. But I was just after it started, and there was a collection big enough of videos where I could just get a little bit stuck into the wormhole early on. So Mike Assassin went to America, and he battled Iron Solomon. He battled Jims, I believe his name was. What's his name? That little Cyanide. He battled 4, 5, 6 people. That was a little wormhole. But then you got Iron Solomon had 5, 6, 7 videos out against Madness, a guy called Shirt and Tie. Really, really good early battles. Flames. So that was a little wormhole. And it's like, and you got the average Jump Off battlers. So you'd watch exactly what sort of Tom on the battle rap resume, and everyone else seems to describe in there early getting into battle rap. You watch one, you watch their opponent, but it was the start where you had about 15, 20 different guys. Dragonfly, he was a big Australian geezer that was battling in England. Ezra, and then to see the guys that are still in it today, that were in it from the start. Press One was there, obviously Archaic. Truth, for people like that, right back in the day. Yeah. And we were at the cusp of it as well. We were at the cusp. England was at the cusp of the written format, because America had been doing these freestyle battles that were written. We were doing sort of freestyle battles that were freestyle, and it was freestyle, but the lines were written. So it's coming. Us and sort of a few states in America were all neck and neck really in terms of producing sort of this new wave of battle rap.
Definitely, yeah, and like it. I really like enjoy speaking to people that have been into it for that long. Like personally, the first battle that I ever saw that got me into battling was O'Shea versus Lego. So kind of very early Don't Flop days. But I was still in I think I was in year 9 at school at this point. Yeah. So like
See, I've got the benefit of age. Because I'm of an older generation. And I think that benefited me in my battle rapping as well. And I think it's almost like we've had to take a generation out in a way, because when you're coming through as a battle rapper, it's all about appealing to the crowd. The crowd has to be the same age as you. So it's like, but they also had to experience things that haven't been spoken about to death. So I had a fresh canvas. O'Shea had a fresh canvas. You come into the newer generation, and for their inspiration, their kitsch sort of niche nostalgia has been done to death by a generation before as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like you need that break now, so that when in 10 years time when battle rap comes back again, they've got loads of fresh things to talk about, and TV programs and games and fads, trends, viruses.
No, I see what you mean, man. And on that kind of subject, like I was speaking to P Soldier yesterday, and we were kind of discussing how consistently good Matter has been for such a long time, and like it's not nice to see when Matter's getting a bit of stick on the forums and whatever, because he's not coming with as good performances as he was, say, a couple of years ago or whatever. But it's like this guy has consistently battled on probably like a monthly basis for over a decade.
I think that's overkill, though. I think that's overkill for himself. Do you know what I mean? I think but I think as well, to be able to sort of be creatively consistent, you have to do that. You know, so he's been creatively consistent, but at the same time, I think he needed to have taken that big gap out and then come back with a vengeance, which I think he did. I think he had a year or two off, did he? Or has he been banging them out month in, month out? It's like the
I
Saurus as
mean,
well. I think the Saurus, Matter, and I'm not putting Matt down. Matter was amazing, and I used to love watching Matter battle. Same with the Saurus. The Saurus was the best battle rapper in the world, and now it's like, do you get what I mean? The Saurus,
yeah,
especially, it's like it's not the Saurus battle was sort of the highlight of my month. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
In terms of entertainment, because TV's been crap for ages. But now it's like, shall I watch round two?
No, I can see what you're saying. Like, I personally, I still think Saurus is smashing every battle, but he's also he's not as active as he was. I think he's only doing kind
Yeah.
of 3 battles a year now, which I think makes a bit more sense.
I think he was
But
only
yeah,
in his payday though. They were only doing because they were doing events every sort of 3 months, I think, or 2 months or something.
yeah,
It was when it got oversaturated. I think everyone got oversaturated at once. But I'm saying, if I don't know, I think you just reach a peak creatively. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like you've rhymed all the words. You've rhymed all the words. There's no more words to rhyme. There's no more schemes to do. There's no more jokes to say. For that one particular person, there's no more your swag, your style. That's you can't bring it anymore. It's like it's sort of been done to death. And I'm not saying I'm not having a go at Matter or the Saurus because they're both. It is incredible how they are still doing it and performing at the top of their game. But I'm saying it just you get to a certain point where you're like, is it worth doing this anymore?
yeah,
Which
man.
is a
And like,
shame. A shame. But
no, no, go on, man.
no, I'm just saying I look forward to. I was going to do one this year, and I did one last year. It's almost like sort of pausing them out and having that 12 months. It's like when you eventually get back to writing, you're so keen to get on that stage and do well and stuff. You sort of push yourself a bit harder. But
Yeah, and
Matt,
I mean,
when I was young,
if
when I was
anyone knows
starting,
about working themselves too hard, it's yourself as well. I mean, there was a stage in the early days of Don't Flop where it seemed
yeah,
like you were battling every single week, pretty much. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you were here, there, and everywhere, all over the country.
they were my
On
friends. I mean, that's probably what it is with the Source and Matter. Actually, saying all that, it's probably a case. It was my life. Do you know what I mean? It was my funnest thing. It's what I enjoyed the most. Uh, was going to see your friends. It was going to hang out with your friends, and if you were good at something, you got up and you did it as well. Do you know what I mean? But it was mainly about going to see your friends. It was mainly about the laughs afterwards, or the travelling there, travelling across the country and stuff like that. And it's good to be able to watch your battles back because it really does remind you of the sort of the moment you were there and like the shit you were doing and the clothes you were wearing and how long your hair was and stuff. Just looking back at different days out.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. And I like off the top of my head, I can't remember a single bad performance from you, and you were
Thank you.
hands down. I think you were the most active person that the UK has had in that sense, like
Yeah.
in terms
I
of
was I'd always try. That's the thing. I'd always try. I'd never just turn up. Like there were other people like Mickey and Balski and Pedro. And I'm not here to put this isn't putting anyone down because they'll be the first to admit it. But Mickey used to have lines in his head, but he didn't necessarily spend much time out of the week practicing for that performance at the end of the week. Um,
no,
whereas I mean, this is why I can't do it to this day. It's because I had to sacrifice my whole life because I was so sort of OCD about making sure that I did my best when I was out there. Do you know what I mean? Even if my best had a glass ceiling that didn't never met me sort of right at the top, I always wanted to do my best when I was out there, and it did mean sort of putting everything into it, which was long, which is why I couldn't do it sustainably for that amount of time without getting paid serious wage. Do you know what I mean? If it was my full-time job, it would have been great. I'd still be doing it now.
yeah, yeah, of course, man. And it's no, it was amazing to watch though, and like that's what I mean. I'm just a huge fan of yourself and everything that you've put into battle rap, man. It's huge, but Do you remember the first event that you ever attended then? And did you attend as a fan first, or did you just jump straight into battling?
Yeah, so I think I benefited from spending years just as a fan, and almost I used to watch early Don't Flop events and think, because I emailed when I was in Australia, I emailed her and said I'm coming back to England. I really want to do a battle. I think it was their third ever event. Can you hook me up with an opponent? And then I was going to write for them because I'd done a battle against some guy in Australia and I'd written for him. And in fact, I say I'd done a battle. I got ready for a battle against a guy in Australia and he didn't turn up. But I was ready with lyrics, so I knew I could do it. But I was basically saying I need proof you can be a battle rapper. And I couldn't just record lyrics, bars for someone without having an opponent there. So I was like, right, I need to do a battle to get on Don't Flop. So I was part of a group on the rapmusic.com. It was like a forum back in the day, and I was
Yeah, sure.
on it. Yeah, all the battle rappers were there. You'll hear people talk about it. Rapmusic.com. A lot of people became internet famous through there in the battle scene. Eric Foreman, etc. Fresco, sort of people like that were on it before they became battle rappers. So rapmusic.com. Where was I? What were we talking about?
So your first event
That was
attended
it,
and how
right.
you needed a battle to go on Don't Flop.
Yes, sorry. Right, so I there was a guy called Swaggertron who mentioned I had this big fantasy about starting Don't Flop Amsterdam because there was Don't Flop North, Don't Flop South, and I was like, Don't Flop Amsterdam, it makes sense. So I was gonna move to Amsterdam. I was gonna inbox, get him to start a league, organise it all there. Anyway, this guy was on this rapmusic.com forum was like, I'm starting a league in Rotterdam. So I messaged him and said, I'm not a famous, but I'm a successful battle rapper from England. I've done loads of battles, haven't got any footage, but he can have my Facebook. There's plenty of ammo to go on. Can I get a battle? So he said, yeah, we've got this one English speaking geezer. You can battle against him. We're doing an event coming up. It'll be a great main event. So I was like, right, my first ever battle in Rotterdam, and it's the main event. My opponent was called Ahab. He had one arm, which was all of a
Yes.
sudden like I can write about anything. Like I don't have to write about anything. I can write about the arm, which obviously looking back on it now, I might have been a bit more poignant or something with it. Do you know what I mean? But then it was like my first ever battle. I've got this great bit of inspiration to write about. So the long and the short of it was I had to go all the way to Rotterdam. I had to lie to a foreign person. It was my own money. My mate disappeared on mushrooms the night before. I couldn't find my hotel. We couldn't even get a hotel the first night. We had to walk around Amsterdam all night till the hotel we managed to book was ready. Because we thought we could just go there and get a hostel for like €10 a night, and that didn't work. So
Right.
it was a good little story, but then years later he invited me back and he paid for my travel and gave me a free apartment and that. So that was like a good. I did that for him and then or them, but spending my money. But it was the opportunity they gave me as well. It was invaluable because Disaster inboxed me and said that was a really good performance and stuff like that. It was buzzing.
Nice,
And then
man. And yeah, like Rotterdam's a great city as well. Like
beautiful.
I love Holland as a whole, but yeah, Rotterdam's great fun. And just doing your first battle overseas, like not many people can say that they've done that. Do you know what I mean?
I know. And I walked in there and I was dancing. There was a little stage in the corner. And I walked in there and I was dancing on my own in the corner. And I did exactly the same when I first battle and Don't Flop was about 3-4 weeks later against Hazard at Blood in the Water 2. I got there and saw O'Shea standing in line and he said, "Oh, you're PAMFLIT, aren't you?" And I was like, over the bloody moon, honestly. I was so happy. It was incredible.
I can imagine, man. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, O shall always remain the GOAT in my opinion. He's the first person I ever saw, and I'll always be like the biggest O'Shea fan too. But
He's the
yeah,
yeah.
he's just such a cool guy as well, man. He's just, yeah, big fan. But What would you say then is your favourite battle that you've been a part of? And I know there's been a lot, so it's going to be
Yeah.
hard to decide. But
Well, in terms of my performance, or just like the prestige around it, I'd say it's the Blizzard one in every answer to that, because I'd say my Blizzard performance was my favourite, and I think he beat me, um, but it's the one I'm most proud of. And obviously, him being a big name, it sort of got the views in and stuff. So I'd be lying if I said any other battle, I think.
nice, and I don't think he beat you, to be honest.
I don't either. I don't either, which is, but that's what I'm saying. He must have bought it or bought something. I mean, I was annoyed that he went over at my dad, really, because it was like, you should just talk about me. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah, no, I agree, and it was especially back then, like there wasn't many battlers that were taking things to that kind of extreme, in my
yeah,
opinion. Like I was only really a fan of the UK scene at this point, so I'd still not really fully got into like the overseas scene and stuff, and
uh,
nobody was really taking it that far, and it was
he
as
made it a point of being like, this is the new me. I'm going to take it really far, type thing. But I just think I
yeah,
was in the zone for writing every line in a 4 bar scheme being, so it was like, what was one of them? I can't remember, but it was like every line. I had a good 5 or 6 of them where every line was a uh, oh, what is it? I can't remember them, but yeah, you'll have to go back and watch it yourself, and or talking to the listeners here, and check them out, because I'm well proud of them.
yeah, man, and it's yeah, you in my opinion anyway, you definitely won that battle, and his performance at parts is actually quite kind of difficult to watch, but
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, I never
yeah,
watch my opponents. I enjoy, as I say, I enjoy watching my battles back, because it's like it takes me back to. It's like watching a moving photo of a time in your life. But I'll only watch my rounds just because I find myself much more funny than I find other people funny, especially when they're being mean to me. You know what I mean? Why would I sit there and watch people being rude about me? I'll be sitting there and watch people being rude about other people, but not vice versa. That's just silly.
that's fair enough. No, I like it. But and what would you say was like your least favorite battle that you've been in then?
I mean, easily it was, and everyone involved were lovely. They are lovely people, absolutely. And it was almost like it was because they were too lovely that it made it the worst. But Euphorical was, I'd say, begging. He was really keen to get me to come down and battle in Nottingham. He said that people wanted to see me, and uh, and that's amazing. It's like amazing sort of having someone that keen that it was like I said no to a certain amount of money, and then that money got moved up, and it was like, honestly, I've got to work that Saturday. I can't get out of work on Saturday morning, and the event's on a Friday, so it's like I can't do it. It's in Newcastle. You're in Nottingham. He was like, I'll pay for your train fare. I'll give you all this money. You got somewhere to sleep. You get drinks all night. Please come and do it. So I was like, right, cool. I was working those at the time. I wasn't in a creative place. I didn't know my opponent very well. So I wasn't overly happy with my bars. It's hard to practice when you're not overly happy with your material, because you're not keen to hear the lines yourself and practice how you're going to say them. And then I got there, and being aware that I had to leave at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, to get back to Newcastle for 7 o'clock in the morning, so I could walk straight into work. And I was like, I'm just going to have a couple of hours practicing, if that's all right. So I like going for walks and just talking through my bars to myself. So I went on it, and then they called me. They were like, we're at the bar. Everyone wants to see you. Are you coming? So I was like, right. So I went to the bar, and I was sort of hanging out at the bar. And it was like every hour I was like, can I go on yet? And it was like, the owner of the bar doesn't want everyone to leave after the performance. So we're pushing it back an hour, back an hour, back an hour. Anyway, I think I ended up getting on about 2:30 in the morning. And I was shit. I was shit. I was shit. Yeah, I can't watch it back. It's probably my only performance I have never seen back, to be honest. I was choking. They just didn't get it. I had all these flips planned about people who weren't. It was people. who were underage or were wearing tracksuits weren't allowed in, and that was what everyone was saying. That's why it was empty, because if you didn't have your ID and you weren't wearing a tracksuit, you weren't allowed in. So I had this flip about that being his girlfriend wasn't allowed in 2 times or something like that. Do you know what I mean? But it got no
Right.
reaction, fell on deaf ears, and I was just, it was just when you're fighting against the crowd, it's not good. But when you're when
No,
you're
I
sort of a
understand, man.
character, when you're a character, you can get away with doing whatever it is you do, Mickey making a silly noise, and the crowd react to that, and then that gives you the opportunity. You've already won, then. Do you know what I mean? So it's not a fight. If the crowd know, but the crowd weren't feeling me, they didn't know who the character was and stuff like that, and then you just. That's the only really time that's really happened, which was annoying, and I couldn't win them over. I was too tired.
No, that's fair enough, man. And was that like a clutch? Was it clutch money then?
What's that?
Euphoricals League. Was
Cash
that
money.
on? Yeah, that was
No,
it.
Clash money. Clash money. Yeah, Clash money. That was it. Yeah.
And who was the opponent then?
It was Ty Healy.
Okay, yeah, he's quite a good freestyler as well. Is that right?
He's a really good freestyler, which is why I wanted lyrics that I'd clearly come up with on the day mixed in, which I usually do to good effect, but it just didn't work at this time. Because when I battle someone I know is going to freestyle, I'll try it as soon as I walk in that room, as soon as I got there with Definition, because I know Definition's good at it. You're looking around the room. What am I going to say? Who am I going to talk about? Whose t-shirt is funny? Who's had a fight with their bird on the phone? You know, something like that. Anything you can latch onto.
Definitely, and it's one of the most entertaining things to hear in battle rap. I think, like, and it doesn't even
Well,
need to be complicated whatsoever. Like
yeah.
the
The more
off,
complicated, the worse it is. Yeah.
yeah, like off the top of my head, like say O'Shea against Uno when the lights go out and
Yeah.
he flips that, and it brings some of the biggest reactions, and like you
Yeah.
don't see it in battle rap anymore. Like over here, nobody really
Everyone's so
has
well
the ability to
rehearsed.
do it.
Everyone's so well rehearsed. It's a performance now. If they don't get their hand movements right while they're spitting this intricate scheme, if they're not opening the invisible fridge door, they're not gonna. They lose track of where their hand movements are. Which is like in everything sports these days, they have to move their hands. And when you actually see them or interviews, any interview, that people are moving their hands, and it's if you can move your hands while you're talking, it's the most natural thing in the world. A lot of Italians can do it. It's expressive, it emotes, but if you're forcing it, it doesn't. You can't concentrate on the moment, and the moment you need to be able to concentrate on the moment. If the lights go out and you can say something at the drop of a hat, it isn't corny as well. Do you know what I mean? That's not corny. So
No, definitely, man, and yeah, it's one of my favorite things to see, and I've not seen it for a very long time, to be honest. But I mean, you've been to a ton of events as well, but what would you say is the most standout battle, is like the best battle that you've ever seen live?
the best battle I've ever seen live. Oh, I don't know, because I've seen. For me, one that I remember, the two that I'd remember are Els versus Saint Asrai at Blood in the Water 5, and that's only because uh, I was so hyped for it. I was just so hyped. They were the two funniest geezers, in my opinion. It kind of was a bit disappointing in the actual battle, but I was so hyped for it that I remember being hyped for that. And the other one, I mean, I've seen the Luna Matter 2-on-2, but I think the other one would be Lego and O'Shea. Is it Lego and O'Shea? Flex Digits and O'Shea. I remember
Okay,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, because that was. I think I might have gone to that just before I did my debut. I think I did. Yeah, I
right.
think the birthday was just before the second birthday, and so that was the first time. And I was in the intro as well because I did a freestyle tournament, and like the first thing on the first video I watched from this event was me flashing on the screen, and I was marking out. That was great.
Yeah, I bet, man, that's cool. But no, some great battles there, and you must have seen tons of amazing battles down the years. But like you've you've been pretty much all around the country. You've obviously battled overseas as well, but what's the longest amount of time that you've ever spent like traveling to an event?
I mean, I'd say I'll probably be wrong, but I did. What did I do? I did a shift on the Friday, and then This is what I was supposed to do originally, but I missed the Mozprod part of it. I did a shift on the Friday, then I walked to the station, got the train into London, then got the megabus to Glasgow, then hung around all morning and all day waiting for the event to start. That was overnight, the megabus. Did the event, then got the megabus, but waited with Bloodstroke till about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning in the middle of Glasgow in a megabus open lounge thing, freezing my tits off. Got the megabus back to London, then went to see Mickey Worthless straight off the megabus because it was and his birthday event, and I was due to battle Moz Prob. Waited for ages for these two girls to show up. They're ridiculously late. Mickey kept saying they'll be here 20 minutes. They'll be here 20 minutes. Had work the next morning, so then had to go home and not do the Moz Prob battle. Went home, had a couple of hours sleep, and then went back to work. So it was 2 days of travelling. But then we did Scarborough. We drove to Scarborough. Me, Mr. 13, Bleak, Pete Cashmore, I think, and Impact. Drove to Scunthorpe. The battle event in Scunthorpe, where there was loads of good battles there. Actually, I think Definition and Jefferson Price battled 2 people. That was a good event though. And then we did Manchester, where I battled O'Shea the next night. So we drove from Scunthorpe to Manchester, and then from Manchester back home in a 2-day. There was loads of those sort of where you were just sort of travelling for 2 days and battling in 2 different parts of the country type thing.
That's mad. That is mental. Especially the Glasgow story, man. That's intense stuff. But
I'll tell you what I did as well was I did the Sprungy. It's my favourite thing I've ever done. It was I did Newcastle on a Friday, and then I had 6 days off, and then we drove to Birmingham on the Saturday, and then we got the megabus to Cardiff on the Sunday, and then we got the megabus to Warrington on the Monday or something like that. It was 3 different cities in 3 days with me, Sprungy, E Villa, a couple of other people. That was mental as well. That was hardcore. Like just no sleep.
I can imagine, man.
Constant
battle. And what was it that you were in Cardiff for then?
So it was an event. So I did Jack Sexton on the Friday, and then the following, it might have been a Thursday. It was the Thursday I did trademark in Birmingham for Spit Roast, and then the Friday was in Cardiff against Stowaway, and then the next day, the Saturday, was against Jeffers in Warrington. And I had all the rounds, there was 12 rounds there, and I had 11 rounds written, and it means Spruggy wrote the 12 on the Megabus.
Crazy. That's mad.
All half long, do you know what I mean? All 90 seconds long, all original material. Like I was on form back in the day. Yeah.
Definitely, man. Like nobody can do that now.
Seconds. Yeah, standard.
That's incredible, man.
You had to live and breathe it. Like there was no half measures. You had to be a part of it constantly. It had to be your life.
No, I got a lot of respect for that, man. It's crazy, and you know the work rate back then from yourself. It's crazy, man. It really is. But like in terms of your battles, then, like I've been asking the guests, like what is their top 3 standout bars that they've had said against them? Like, have you ever had any of those moments where you've been stood there and thought, fuck, I was not expecting that?
Said against me, I can't think. See, I mean, I've had some good bars said against me, but it's like they've either been like really good flips or Yeah. Or so there's been a battle that I've been in. Like I think one of the best ones ever was when like it was a freestyle when he did it. It was Batman versus Joker, and he said something about earlier on in the evening there was a fight with Chronicle and him, and it was like I heard it was on some racialist tip, and I thought I'd better stay away from it. You got Action Pam, Matterson against me. Action Pam, the biggest weirdo of them all, or something.
Yeah.
To the Action Man theme tune. That's another one that I remember. There's been some good ones, but as I say, I don't really watch my opponents as much because they're not as funny as me.
Fair enough. No, I understand, man. And like in terms of yourself, so obviously, well, I would just like to say, rest in peace to Pete Cashmore as well. And I know you two were incredibly close, and the guy did the amount of work behind the scenes that he did for our scene, and the amount of promotion that he gave it, it was incredible to see.
He was one of the lads, you know what I mean? He was one of the guys. When I said earlier about Mickey and them, he was. You knew you were going to go to Norwich on Saturday, the 26th of July, and it was going to be sunny, and you're going to be wearing a t-shirt, and Pete Cashmore was going to be there with his glass of wine. Bowski was going to be there, Mickey was going to be there, Kruger was going to be there, Pedro was going to be there, was going to be knocking about angrily. Do you know what I mean? The same girls all the time, the same Pete, like same fans all the time, the same battle rappers, and the new ones coming through, like Impact, Big J, and them. It was a great time. It was a great scene. It was a great little like group of people, and they're all from around the country as well. And then like Innuendo would roll in, like hungover and buzzing his tits off. Spruggy would be drunk outside. Just mad people, mad times. It was great.
Yeah, man. And like the thing with one of the most incredible things with Pete Cashmore for me was it's like seeing him in the footage to battles and hearing him laugh so loudly was kind of like it gave a lot of people's bars validation in that sense. It would make the entire room laugh, and it was just
because he was
such an important figure.
So he'd get the bars that maybe someone else wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like you'd say something, and then Pete would be the solitary laugh, but it would be such a genuine and loud laugh. It's like it was a good bar. It's just no one else got it apart from Pete.
Definitely, no, man, and he's missed by a lot of people. Unfortunately, I never really got the pleasure to chat with him properly in that sense. I spoke to him very briefly once or twice, but he's truly missed in the scene. And I know there's plans to do a second for Pete's sake event. Would you plan to battle there?
I mean, you've got to look at the facts. It was supposed to be for September, and at the time they were organising it, I was like, September, that's bloody miles away, you idiots. What are you doing? But now it's proved, if anything, that like if we do get back to normal by then they'll be the first in line. But I can't see it happening, to be honest. I can't see people being allowed in rooms this year, which is a shame. But I did have something planned.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it'd be great to see you on there, man. And it's the Canal battle was fantastic, and it's just such a great matchup as well. It made so much sense.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If I'm going to come back, it needs to be for people that I'm actually interested in battling, and I don't just mean like people I want to take the piss out of. I mean people that I know I can trust will do their job in terms of being entertaining, because I'm not going to waste time now writing for someone who that's why I'd love to give newcomers a chance, but it's like I need to tick people off my list now. Do you know what I mean? So if a newcomer comes out and I think, wow, he's like Canal in my eyes, he's still a newcomer, bless him. He's been going for ages, but he was one that was like, I know that he's gonna do his job and make people laugh, and it's not just gonna be a one-sided battle.
Definitely. Yeah, and Canal is someone that, in my opinion, is now automatically top tier in this country in the
Yeah,
sense that he is also battling probably once a month,
yeah,
consistently smashing it. He's never choking. He's never putting
yeah.
in a
He's
bad
got some good fights.
performance, and he's
Yeah,
yeah. I'm
yeah,
a
definitely.
huge fan, but no, man, and it'd be great to see you battle again at some point. Anyway, like obviously
Yeah, so
you've
as I say, I had agreed to battle on that event against Crafty in a wrestling bars battle, but I can't see the event taking place this year now. Whether or not it does as soon as we can, because I just, do you know what it is? It's the whole passing the germ round, and I just can't see them allowing events of 200 people in a small room for the
no.
foreseeable.
I mean, fingers crossed, man, because I'll be honest, wrestling bars is the one thing in battle rap that I just will never understand. To be fair,
Yeah.
I
There's
went
going to
for
be
a
more to it
stage
than
for
that.
about a year, but I'd
Yeah.
still love to see that battle.
We're going to make sure that we're doing it sort of for people that aren't into wrestling, if you know what I mean. It'll be again, Crafty. I could trust. I knew that he's gonna write clever stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's not gonna half-ass it, or I'm gonna get there and it's because I've wasted time. Like bless O'Shea, but I've done a wrestling bars battle before against O'Shea where he just clearly hadn't written like anything, and it's like, and then I couldn't be bothered to spit my bars either, and that never came out. And then I had
Right.
genuinely a wrestling bars battle arranged for someone else, and I don't even think they showed up. And it's like you waste it. And again, Bleak, my football bars battle, I loved my material in that. I wish I'd had someone, not necessarily better than Bleak, although, Bleak isn't the best battle rapper in the world, but in terms of someone with a higher profile, so more people would have watched it because I liked my football bars battle. But yeah, it would have been better if I'd gone against a really informed O'Shea or someone of that caliber.
Yeah, I can see what you mean, and I love that battle as well. But like, I actually think that's probably Bleak's best performance that I've seen
Yeah,
of him.
I think that as well. He did actually do really well. So again, I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, Bleak was shit," but I think someone who would have had a higher, who would have had who's got more fans basically, someone who can reach further than I can. That's what you want in an opponent in a good battle or a big battle, a special
Yeah,
battle. Yeah.
yeah, no, I do see what you mean, definitely. But I think at the time, like that was one of my favorite battles. Actually, I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Like everything about it as well. Like I really just enjoyed the fact that you're just in a park with like
Yeah.
graffiti in the background and stuff, and
Yeah.
it was fun.
There was sort of some random geezers like were walking past and they stopped and were watching and laughing. I can hear their laughter when I watch it back, and it's like that's a good thing. Do you know what I mean? Having people actually stop and be entertained by you in the middle of the street, that's good.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. And it's yeah, one of my favorite battles from back in the days anyway, and some of your stuff is hilarious. Like I'm a
Yeah.
huge football fan, so
Yeah. Well,
it's
fingers
not
crossed.
often that I get every single reference in a battle, but
Yeah.
yeah,
You
yeah,
Cardiff
it
or
was great.
Swansea?
I'm not actually from here. It's my girlfriend's from here, so I moved here later on, but I'm
Right.
um I'm from Hereford originally, so
Right.
not too far from here, but I'm a Liverpool fan.
All right. You must be gutted with what's going on then. How unfortunate is that? You couldn't have made it up. You genuinely couldn't have made it up. You've been trying
No,
for
I
ages.
know, I know. It's
What the
mate.
fuck? Someone
I was
just
dreading telling you to be honest, like, but yeah, I've been
I
waiting
feel bad for you,
20
yeah.
years for us to win the league, and now it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, what a weird situation, man. No, I mean it will do. They'll give you it, bruv. They must do. If they take it from you, that's a miscarriage of justice because you've been top drawer all season. They'll
Yeah,
definitely
but do
they
you know
won't.
what? I think I'd rather they take it from us than just hand it to us without finish the season, to be
You
honest,
haven't
because
handed it to you. It's been an unfortunate situation. Are you honestly saying you wouldn't take it if they said, "Look, you've been the best team all season. You got the most points. We could, you could not show up to the rest of your games and still probably win the league. Genuinely, you've got that far ahead now. Why you just have it? There's no way you turn around and say, "No, we haven't earned it." You take it, bruv. It's the first one in ages.
No, I don't think I can. I can't do it.
Oh,
Like
oh,
I've
really?
grown up surrounded by Man United fans, and the stick that I'd get from them is
No,
it's
honestly,
just not
we'd
worth it.
take it. We would take it, brother, in a heartbeat. We take it quicker than you could ask. Honestly, we'd have it. Man
Are you
United
a
fans.
United fan then?
Well, I grew up a United fan, yeah. There was a point where my best mate supported Liverpool, my stepdad supported United, and I sat down and watched Man United versus Liverpool. And I was like, whoever wins this game, I'm supporting them. And Dennis, it was 2-2 like minutes ago or so. Dennis just ran through the whole defence, bang, back at the net. So Man United are my team. But yeah, I'm starting to support it. And now Solskjaer's back. There was a few years after Fergie left where it just didn't feel like Man United anymore. So
No.
because they weren't winning, so glory hunter in a way, but at the same time, it just now Solskjaer's back. I hope they trust in him and they can build with him and maybe bring Giggs through at some point and just have Man United back again. Which Liverpool have retained their history to a certain degree, I think. Um, but yeah, I like football. I like football more than I like Man United. Let's put it that way.
No,
But
I can appreciate that, especially lately. But
yeah,
they're I think they're on their way back to their best. I'll admit I was one of the people that was laughing when they hired Solskjaer, but I think
yeah,
if he's given the right amount of money this summer as well, I think he can actually do a really good job, and I think he is starting to.
I mean, we've got to wait and see because at the end of the day, is Premier League going to be able to go on sustainably if there's no fans allowed in the grounds? And we don't know when the everything's going to come back again. Genuinely,
No,
I
no,
can't
it's
I
true.
can't see it till the end of the year, and that's a whole half a season gone. That everyone's saying, well, I say everyone. The talk was November was going to be when people are allowed back in venues and that. And now the talk is it's going to be pushed back from there for obviously we don't know for facts, but if you can't even
No.
walk within 2 meters of someone, how are you going to walk? How are you going to fit 200 people in a 100 meter square box room? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I've been talking to quite a few like American battlers and stuff about coming on the show lately, and like they're saying like in certain states like Kansas and stuff, nothing's happening. Everyone's still working.
Yeah,
Nobody's in lockdown or anything. And they were
yeah,
like, "What do you mean when you say you're in lockdown?" And I was like, "Man, we have to
yeah.
queue to to go one in, one out in a supermarket right
We
now,
won't be
and we're
allowed
allowed out an
if
hour
things
a
go
day."
worse. If things go worse, we won't even be allowed those luxuries
No,
like Italy,
it's
Spain,
crazy.
because we are on course. I still think we're on. I don't know. I don't know. You sort of stop paying attention to it. It's all just so bleak. But all I'm saying is, I wouldn't be thinking about battle events in the summer. I wouldn't be thinking about the Premier League starting in August or whenever it starts. Just like
No.
honestly, I think it's going to be a big shift. What knock-on effect does that have in football? Like if you're not getting 55,000 people in Old Trafford or whatever its capacity is these days, 75 every week, that's a lot of money that's just disappearing. People can't afford to go even if do you know what I mean? Everything's going to change.
Yeah,
Football,
of
I don't think
course.
footballers are getting paid fucking £500,000 a week anymore. People aren't 55,000 people aren't going to watch them.
No, and it's
Uh,
it's causing a lot of stir as well in it, especially with like people suggesting that footballers should give up their money before
yeah,
non-playing stuff and whatever. And it's like at the end of the day, like I understand where people are coming from, but these people have trained for their entire life to get to the position that they're in. Most of
yeah,
them are voluntarily giving some of their wages up. Do you know what I mean? It's
yeah. But then, what it's going to do uh, is it's going to drag the entire club down because if you've got no backroom staff, uh, what's football is a sort of little infrastructure, whatever it's called. It's self-sufficient, and without the people at the bottom, like what if you're paying someone £300,000 a week to do nothing, which is what they're doing at the moment. Whereas you can't pay matey boy £500 a week for his role. That's crazy. That is crazy. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then they expect the government to pay for it. It's mad.
Yeah, I'm really ashamed of Liverpool for putting their non-playing staff in this situation as well. Like surely we're making more money than pretty much any club on the planet are right now, having just won the
Yeah.
Champions League and all that kind of stuff. And we're just
Yeah,
the
it's hugely
background of our
supported.
club.
You always
Yeah,
had big support in Asia and all that. Imagine, yeah, you should be raking it in.
definitely. And obviously, we've just signed one of the first Japanese players in the Premier League as well, and shirt sales in Japan have gone through the roof. And like just the background of Liverpool Football Club as a whole, for us to do this, it's made me really ashamed, to be honest. And I hope they change their mind. But
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's crazy. This is a crazy. The thing is, as well, people don't know how to act around this situation. It's like, people just want it to be same as it was, and it's not going to be that way now. Things have changed.
no, definitely, and nobody knows how to deal with it, because this is a situation like this has never come up before, is it? It's
What
crazy
pisses me
time.
off? What pisses me off that no one seems to be talking about is, I don't know if Amazon are still not paying tax, but everyone's using Amazon, using away. I ordered some stuff off Amazon the other day and it arrived, and it's like, it literally, the geezer just walked around my estate. He didn't bother getting back in his car because he had that many drop-offs around the estate. Everyone's using Amazon. Are they paying tax? Are they helping us? Do you know what I mean? Or is that money just disappearing? It's a crazy situation. I'm hoping that changes as well. I'm hoping it's just everything sorts itself out and we can be even better from it. That's the hope.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I didn't even think about that at all, to be honest.
There's all sorts that is going to change now. I swear down. This isn't a
Yeah.
conspiracy, but I think it's a genuine. We needed to change. I think it's been it's been a sort of eye-opening experience. That we can go on. And everyone was going on the other day as well about Bill Gates being a part of it, being a conspirator, pre-warning everyone. He was saying, I watched an interview with him the other day, he was saying this sort of thing happens every 20 years, which it does. And we haven't had it for a good sort of 20 years. I think AIDS was the last massive thing. So let's just start thinking about what we're going to do if and when it inevitably does happen. And it's happened. So just
Yeah,
be careful, that's all it is.
definitely.
Gotta
No, man, and
rate rubber johnnies all the time everywhere so we don't breathe on people.
yeah, but like, do you know what? I think, just going back to battle rap in that sense, I think this period that we're in now for the UK scene, I think it's actually going to be quite beneficial,
Yeah,
because the
reset.
amount of negativity in the UK scene really winds me up. And like,
Yeah,
at the moment, if you go on like any battle rap related page on Facebook or group or whatever, everyone's getting involved. They're doing these video battles. They're
yeah,
sending for each other again.
yeah,
People seem to be talking about it positively and getting excited again.
yeah.
So I
Uh,
think this period is actually it's gonna
be
improve
beneficial, yeah,
the output of the
definitely, yeah.
scene. Yeah.
I think it'd be good
So
to have some kind of like big event on, because I enjoy these online battles. I think they should do a big event where sort of big names do battles over online. I'm sure King of the Dot must be trying to organise something like that at the minute. If
see,
people can't leave the house.
I haven't seen anything from both King of the Dot or URL, to be fair, but like, I don't know if you've seen much of the iBattle stuff.
Yeah, I
There,
don't really. Yeah, I need to sort of pay more attention to that. But
if you down iBattle have an app, and
yeah,
it's brilliant. Like it's 10 times better than the URL app. The functionality of it's really good, but like all the battles, all the online battles that they've done recently,
yeah,
are free to watch on the app. And
right,
they've done like a tournament where the winner gets $1,000, I think it is.
yeah,
And the semi-finals are Nugget from Ireland
Right, yeah, I saw he was progressing in it.
He is
Do you know what
battling a
pisses me
guy.
off though, right? They're bloody saying you've got to download this app. I don't want a load of apps on my phone. Put it on YouTube. Let people watch it. Let people enjoy it. Why is it got to be hidden away for people that are only going to go and seek it out? Whatever happened to try and develop the scene and push the product and try and get it out there? Now everyone's like, oh, come in here and watch it. Come and pay. Come in my secret magic door, my little room, and watch it with me. It's like, nah, bruv. I want to be walking down the street and I want to be randomly walking into your place. I want to find you. Why are we hiding battles away? Sorry. Sorry. No.
No, do you know what? I do kind of disagree with that actually, because I think
Yeah.
iBattler, they are doing a lot to push the scene as well, in the sense that they have their own pay-per-view kind of streaming platform through their app, and they
Who's pay-per-viewing it? That's what I mean. That we can't be too fixated because who's pay-per-viewing it? Who's downloading it? The same people. The whole battle rap blew and exploded when obviously YouTube has failed us now, but I'm saying this like there's an alternative. They are doing their own alternative because YouTube is useless now. But it can only, in my opinion, it can only expand if we make it as accessible as possible. And as far as I'm concerned, that means events that cost a fiver to get into, even if no one's making any money. None of the battlers should be making any money because they've got no fans. There's hardly any fans. So why are they making any money? But they want to be building the scene up to a stage where they're selling X amount of tickets at £5 a pop because there's that many people into it that £5 a pop is what, because when they start creeping up, yeah, it's all right when you're getting the big names in and they're unique big names and they're new to England. But no one wants to go out and spend 25, 30 quid of their money on a ticket to an event they might not even bother going to on a day. Do you know what I mean?
no, I can see what you mean in that sense.
It's about the growth. It's about walking hand in hand towards a brighter future. Not saying everyone that's in this room now can give me £30, but fuck everyone else. Let's try and get as many people involved as possible. So the apps. Do you know what? I wouldn't download an app to watch a battle. I've got YouTube, and there's battles that I should be watching that I'm potentially not, because there's so many other distractions. I've started watching. I watched Don't Flop battles because I didn't for ages, but now I've got them in my news feed and they pop up they were for a time every week or twice a week. You get a new battle, and I would watch the newcomers. And if I like them, I've inboxed people and said, yeah, I like them, stuff like that. I just want to see battles. I want to see battles. I want to see people sharing battles. I want to see not be able to avoid it because the same person shared this battle 10 times. Even if I click off after round 2 because it's not my cup of tea. I just think battle rap needs to be in the shop window in order to sell itself because no one's coming and asking for it.
Yeah, I see what you mean as well, and Don't Flop are definitely getting back to that. Like, I went to the Don't Flop Bristol event like a month or so ago, just before all this kind of kicked off, and like I bought my ticket back in November for £1.
Yeah.
And for £1 I got to see Crafty versus Yunnan in the title match. I saw Press 1 versus Lefty for the on-beat title.
Yeah.
There was Zayn Azrai versus Graphic Grammar. There was good battles on the card.
You got your money's worth, and that's what it's about: getting your money's
100%.
worth. Yeah, you want people to feel like they've got something out of you, not you've got something out of them. And that's what there's far too many events now where you're going, you're paying all your money, and you're turning up. And it starts at the battlers because the battlers aren't putting the time and effort in. But if you know they're going to put time and effort in, don't book them. Book cheaper matey or free matey, preferably free matey that's not going to put any time and effort in, and let him disappoint them instead. Because at least people then aren't paying £30 to be disappointed; they're paying £1 to be disappointed, or hopefully entertained. Like £5 is a sweet spot. £1 is incredibly cheap. But I pay a fiver to an event just to support it, and then if I get anything out of it, that's a bonus. But people are just fixated on how am I keeping up with the Joneses? How am I keeping up with the Serious Joneses? By booking Serious Jones, and no one wants to see that. And if they pretend they do it and they watch it and they're like, yeah, I enjoyed that Serious Jones battle, they're lying. I know they're lying. They're liars, and they shouldn't have to look at themselves in the mirror at night. I want to see
No,
my
completely
man
agree
I've
with that.
never heard of before. I want to see him. I want to click on him and be like, yeah. And I would have watched all those iBattle battles had they been uh, put out there, but I'm not downloading an app to watch a battle that I might only turn off after the first round. Do you know what I mean?
I
But no,
think so. What they
John,
do is sorry, man, they drop them on the
no, yeah,
app
yeah.
first and then drop them on YouTube a bit further
Right.
down the line, I believe. But like,
Because I wanted to, I was like, yeah, I know him, I know him, I know him. I said, support Canal, support Nugget. I'll watch these battles, and I've not seen them, and I would have watched them had they been on. Yeah, would have followed it because there's fuck all else going on now that you can sort of keep up to date with.
no, exactly.
Mm.
But yeah, as well as the tournament, they've been doing like just random video battles as well. So, and
Right,
you've got huge battles on there, like Real Deal versus E Farrell has just dropped.
right,
You've got Red Flag versus Danny Myers, which is amazing. Ill
yeah,
Will's on there, and like, there's quite a lot of big names in that sense, and
yeah,
they're bringing a lot of UK and Irish guys on as well, like Frankie Fraser,
yeah,
Visual, Canal.
yeah.
Uh,
No, they're
it's
doing it.
been fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm not having to go at them. And honestly, if people go out and download that app, I'm not telling you not to download apps. I'm just saying, my sort of intake of battle rap at the moment needs to be spoon fed to me at the moment until I get that sort of love for it and I start fiending for it again. Yeah,
No,
I just think
I see what you mean.
I think there's too many people sort of. And you know what? I'm not saying this about them because it's more about URL if anything than iBattle because I know iBattle are a startup and they're doing a lot for smaller leagues and smaller battlers. But with the URL, it just seems so overblown and overbloated and hyped up and unnecessary. It's like it's not accessible for me. And the guys, when they come over, they don't put any effort in, and we spend all our money. And it's like literally, you might as well just come and take photographs of people because you've just like ruined my evening by performing. I just wanted to
Yeah,
see.
man, no. And like, I agree in the sense that DNA always came over here and put on a show in that sense, but I'm also just bored of seeing DNA, and like,
Exactly. And
I'm
that reason is
sick to
because
death of clips and
yeah, they put on shows exactly what you just said there. They put on shows, but you're sick of them because you've seen it before, and there's no one else that's going to come and put on a show like Eclipse is a big guy, big character in that. There's only so many times, and you've got to think, what are they paying? Is Clips getting the cheapest flight? Like, is he flying via 4 different countries, or is he getting a reasonably good flight with reasonably good times and getting picked up from the airport and getting somewhere to stay, with a hotel because he'd expect a hotel, you would have thought, and a bit of food, a bit of weed, a drink on the day, and this and that, and he sells X amount of t-shirts, and he's made all this money, and it's like all this money's gone out the scene as well. This ain't money you're giving to Kruger for his album, or this ain't money you're giving to Quill for a feature on your track. This is money that's just being shipped off to America and then probably being put in people's hands that are buying illegal substances and guns and killing people and ruining cities. Do you know what I mean? It's like the money should be like, if anything, I think one big URL rapper could literally fund a whole event where you're paying genuine people that want to perform and want to do really well, £100 to £200 each. And the argument there is, yeah, but you're not going to sell tickets to that event, but you will in a year because you've done that many events that are with people that are passionate and care and are getting paid and that's why they're putting the effort in. And you build it up. You start small and you build it up. I think people want that quick, let's get the big boys in. But the big boys don't care. That's the thing. The big boys don't care about
no,
us.
no, definitely. And funnily enough, on the subject of Charlie Clips, so I had a bit of a shock a couple of weeks ago. He followed me on Twitter and messaged me just saying, when you get the podcast started, I'd love to be on. And I was like,
That's good.
okay. And like at this point, I had like 100 followers or something. I really wasn't expecting it. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I mean, of course, I'd love to get you on, man. And then I messaged him a couple of weeks later just saying, the podcast is up and running. If you want to book something in, we can. And he went, yeah, let's do it. And then he sent me another message about an hour later just saying, here's the receipt. And I clicked into it, and it was like, he was trying to charge me $750 an hour
Wow,
to do
that's
a podcast. And
crazy.
I was just like, right, I see what's
Crazy.
happening now. No
Yeah.
worries. But
This is what
yeah,
I mean. This is what I mean. Do you know what I mean? It's like I want to talk about battle rap. I want to engage about what was going on and what could go on and what is going on now. And my man just wants a payday. That's all it is. And that's what's ruined
yeah,
battle rap. What can I get? What am I owed? Where's my piece of the pie? There'll be no pie left. There is no pie left. I'm hungry.
yeah. And like Clips is on fucking MTV now. Do you know what I mean? Like he
And that's
doesn't
why he
need any
why he
money. Do you know what I mean? It's
that's why he
just
can ask for that money because he thinks he's doing you a favour by appearing, by talking bollocks for more money than you're probably, and in the next couple of weeks, especially all the bollocks that's going on. Do you know what I mean? I haven't received any money in ages. Like I'm going to give £750 to somewhere. It literally, he thinks he's doing you a favour by taking your money. That is how he explains it to himself.
yeah,
It's bullshit. He'd be
yeah. It's
doing you a
mental.
favour by doing you a favour.
And to be honest, I'm not even like a massive Clips fan anyway. Like I like seeing him live, but apart from that, I won't
Yeah.
watch him on YouTube unless it is like O'Shea or Harry Baker or someone like that. I won't watch any of his kind of American battles or anything. So I
I'm not
wasn't
saying
particularly bothered on that front, but
there are some amazing performances. I think Pat Stay. I mean, I don't class Pat Stay as that because he come through the King of the Dot ranks, but Pat Stay is just incredible, another level. I probably would, I probably would support Pat Stay earning what I think he's worth because I sit there. His more than anyone else, especially at the moment, I sit there watching his battles in a slight awe. Where he come up with that stuff, do you know what I mean? That's what you want to do as another battle rapper and as a fan. You want to sit there and think, how did he come up with that? Where did his mind go? Where that was the result, and it's too predictable in a lot of the scenarios these days. But I think Pat Stay stands apart in terms of him being able to come up with stuff that you think, how did he get there? Where did it
yeah,
come from?
I completely agree. He's one of my favourites. I think he's probably my favourite from overseas anyway. He's just incredible. But
Brilliant.
um, you mentioned earlier that battles kind of have to be spoon fed to you in that sense now. But have you had chance to see Pat Shea, Pat
That's
Stay
it.
versus No Shame?
I have. I wasn't as impressed with his performance there as his. What was the last one he did? He did one against some short guy in England. Who was his king of the dot battle in England? And he was basically bullying. He was wearing a big fur coat, and he was bullying him.
Oh shit! The URL one against Tay Rock.
Yeah, that was the one. And he was bullying that geezer. That geezer thought he was it. And Pat Stay was basically saying, you aren't it. I am it. And that's what Pat Stay does. He says, you're not
Yeah,
it, I am it. And the other guy's like, no, you're not. And it's like it's bullying. I love it. Pat Stay's a
yeah,
bully, but in the best way.
yeah. His shotgun shug battle on URL is incredible as well, on
Yeah, see,
both
there's a
sides
couple,
actually.
yeah. There's a couple I've watched of his on those formats that have been amazing, yeah. No Shame. I remember he was really good against No Shame, but he was funny. He wasn't as commanding. I like it because he can do it better than anyone else. He can actually bully. He can take the piss out of you, and it's almost like you aren't going to do anything because I can handle myself. And not enough of battle rappers do that.
Yeah, but I like the whole concept of him going there and like bullying her for 3 rounds and being really personal, but
Yeah,
then ending it with the kind of concept of obviously she's like a transvestite, so he's ending it on the concept of I respect you for who you are, but you
yeah,
don't kind of thing. I just thought it was so well executed.
yeah. See, that's what third round should be, right? Because what that does, it gives you artistic license to be as out of order as you want for the first two. or even for the first half of your third, and then you tie it all back in at the end.
Definitely.
You don't always have to be punchy, do you know what I mean? But as I say, it ties everything up at the end. You can literally get away with calling people anything. I had something like that when I was in Sweden, actually, against my opponent. I kept using the F word, but I tied it in at the end, saying how, like with the South Park thing about how the F word doesn't mean that, it means something else and stuff like that. So you can morally sort of go somewhere where you might not necessarily have normally gone, and then tie it all back in again as well. Poignancy in battle rap is important, definitely, because it's like a narrative. You can be as funny and stupid as you want, but you need to be able to tell that story still. It's storytelling.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Yeah.
And I was having an interesting conversation the other day. I'm not sure if you'll agree with this or not. It's going to divide opinions, but I was speaking to a guy called Copacetic, if you're aware of him, who
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he started like the R rap battles thread on Reddit, and he plays a big part in like the King of the Dot scene in Vancouver and the Northwest and stuff. But
I think I've seen him battle. Yeah, did he battle the Saurus?
No, that was Ellipsis.
Right. Okay.
Copacetic is one of the hosts of that.
Right.
He's battled some pretty big names as well, like Marv One and people like that. But he's his favourite battle ever is Pat Stay versus Daylight.
Right.
Where I don't know if you remember the battle. It was like a King of the Dot title match where Daylight came dressed as a slave.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, I remember that. And didn't Pat Stay was dressed as something as well?
He had like one of those spinny propeller hats on and stuff. Yeah, but it's like I remember at the time, like I was young when that battle came out, like 21 or something, and remember being like, Daylight has just ruined his title shot, and it's like he's a disgrace, like he hasn't even tried, and blah blah blah. And then when you look at it now, with the way that battle rap has aged since then into more of an entertainment platform than it is just about rapping, his stuff has aged really well, and it's actually it's really fun to watch back now. Actually, like obviously you can't judge the battle in his favour because it's not directed particularly at Pat Stay much in that battle, but it's
the thing is with Alex, right? It's all like, if you can't battle, basically, if you can't write the multis, if you can't write the punchlines, if you can't keep the narrative going via lyrics, then you need to use antics. So I think the more antics someone uses, the worse a battle rapper is, and so they get exposed in title matches. They get exposed because if all you've got is antics, it's very one-dimensional. You can't then move on to the next thing. That's sort of why I think I did well, and people like me did well, is because I had the lyrics as well as pissing about, and as well as sort of all the stupidity. You need both. You need both. Do you know what I mean? You need to be able to back up with the lyrics and the stupidness or the antics or whatever.
Definitely, yeah, man. But so in terms of yourself, then you did mention earlier, if you were, if you're to battle again, you kind of got a set list that you'd like to stick to. The question I'm asking is, if there was 5 kind of bucket list battles, who would be on your list? But who interests you in that sense?
Well, I mean, if it is people I genuinely would come back for, probably Shuffle T under the right circumstances. So like for a league where I knew it was going to be a reasonably big deal, basically, I'm not just going to go and battle now in Derby for £150 against Shuffle T, who's also getting, say, £300, and I know that neither of us. Do you know what I mean? I'm not even above that money, but I'm saying it would have to be, the motivation would have to be, it was on a big platform and people were going to watch it. Because if I'm going to try I think Shuffle T would be my ultimate. Can I prove myself that I'm sort of funnier than this guy who's really funny, And am I as good as multis as this guy who's really good at multis? So it's like that. He'd be my ultimate test. Him, the Saurus, for the simple fact that he's probably, you know, the guy I look up to the most in battle rap. I'd say Kid Twist, because I've always said Kid Twist. And again, someone who I was watching way before sort of battle rap was the thing, way before grind time and all that sort of stuff. I used to watch him freestyle, Prolific, and them on sort of crap home recordings on YouTube. So I've got Kid Twist, Shuffle T, Thesaurus. I'd probably say Kruger. Kruger's got this thing where he doesn't want to battle sort of people like me. He doesn't want to battle his friends, basically, which is fair enough. That's what he's always said. I think he doesn't want to battle very often. But I think if we had a battle, hopefully it would just be fun. It would just be funny, clever stuff. Like he'd be my sort of clever, because I've tried battling clever people in the past, and it's like I think he'd be the ultimate clever battle for me. So that's 4. Maybe 360 from Australia. That's the 5th one. Because I used to swag it. He used to wear in the jump off 2-on-2 tournaments. He's a tall geezer, and he used to wear his cap with like a zip top open hoodie and a t-shirt underneath. And I loved his style, so I used to. And as well as a battle rapper, he was amazing. He had everything. Again, he had the charisma and the lyrics. He was funny, witty. That's what you want.
Yeah, he was so good. He's huge now too, right? Like he's like
he was. I mean, I've not heard anything about him. He was. I think if anything, he'll still be sort of living off the hype he got back then. But I don't think he moved on to that next level. Do you know what I mean? I think if anything, he's probably leveled out. But he was. There was a time like he was. You did think. Because I think this is sort of the upper echelons. It's like here. It's like being big. It's like I mean, I don't know the rappers, but Bugsy Malone, is there one called Bugsy Malone?
Yeah.
Or Mike Righteous. I genuinely don't like these guys that do exist. I know they exist. I was trying to think of the right name. Yeah, so it's like they're big in the scene, but then they're not bewitched, or do you know what I mean? They're not sort of the big names of the time type thing. They wouldn't appear on like a competition now. 86, do you know what I mean? But I think he was big. And Cursor as well. Cursor was, again, someone I was kept hearing. He's sort of blown up. He's massive, but I don't know about the Australian scene. He could be big. But yeah, 360 was brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. To be honest, I was expecting to hear you say Pat Stay on your list, because I always thought that battle would make sense. I think you're one of the few people over here that I don't think he just automatically gets on stage and bullies, if you know what I mean, just because you're a similar size. And
I'd try really hard to be massive then as well. But and also I'd just go really in on like the gay, like I would try and really sort of make him feel uneasy about that. Just a little gestures and stuff, not necessarily in the lyrics. And be prepared to take a fist on the chin as well, because ultimately, if he does if I do push him too far and he swings, I'm not going to fight him, because he probably is handier than me. But I'd have to take a fist on the chin, and not go down and let everyone. But I would push him. That's the thing. If I was on stage with him, I would push him to that point probably, because that's just what it is. That's what it is. And Disaster as well. I mean, I wish I probably said Disaster thinking about it now. Pat Stay and Disaster would be 2 probably on the list as well. I'd probably take Kruger and the Kid Twist out and put Disaster and Pat Stay up, to be honest, actually, yeah. I was close to battling Disaster the second time I was in Amsterdam, but he wouldn't do it.
Really?
So they wanted us to do a freestyle battle, because they paid, again, I mean, Disaster sort of made it for himself, so fair play to him. But they paid loads of money, flying him from America. He had a hotel for a week, like in Amsterdam. He wanted to be in Amsterdam. The event was in Rotterdam, but he wanted to be in Amsterdam. And they were buzzing, like they had me in the studio every day and stuff, and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, but you could tell they wanted Disaster. That's what they paid the money to hang out with him. Do you know what I mean? And he just was standoffish. He disappeared straight after the event. And it's like, the people are paying you ultimately to have you at the event. they know the performance isn't going to be stellar. They just want you to hang out.
Yeah.
But it's a shame. That's what I mean. I reckon that you do well with a convention almost, because it's like these people don't even need to perform. Again, it's disappointing. I wish I hadn't seen you perform now because you were whack. I was buzzing off the photo earlier. It'd be good, but then battle rappers they'd ask too much money and they wouldn't make the money back because there aren't enough fans. But it's almost like just bloody turn up to the event, mingle, and I'll give you 100 quid. So that's what should be going on with
No, I
O'Shea.
can see what you mean, like a Comic-Con kind of setup. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it makes sense. But the thing with Disaster nowadays for me though is like it seems like if the battle is not on the West Coast, he just doesn't care anymore. Like
Yeah. I mean, he's right again. It's this whole thing of what I was saying earlier back at the start. It's these, you can only do it so many times. There's only so many times you can climb on that horse and piss about riding it. Do you know what I mean? Before it just gets boring or becomes second nature and there's no real need to put the effort in. I really enjoyed his last performance I saw was against Jolly J on the German league down at the label U.
yeah.
Because he wasn't amazing, but when he is average, he's still so much better than a lot of other people. Because it's the energy,
Oh
it's
man,
natural energy. Yeah, you do get developed in you. It brings you inside.
I completely disagree. I thought that was a
Really?
horrendous battle. Like he just drained the atmosphere out the room by
He
being a
does towards the end, but
bellend.
I don't know. I'd rather watch Disaster split 3 minutes or 4 minutes of sort of mediocre multisyllabics and then ends by whining that he's been cut off or whatever. I'd rather that, to be honest. I think some of Disaster's best performances have been that. I thought he was really good against Kid Caustic in that freestyle battle they had ages ago,
Yeah,
uh, which he
I
did
can see what you
exactly.
mean, but the German battle, like he didn't turn up either, which
Yeah,
he's I think it's the third time he's been booked in Germany, and the other two battles have been terrible as well. So he's
yeah,
been really building it up and saying that, he respects Jolly J as a rapper and he's looking forward to putting a performance on for the German crowd. And then he just turned up and didn't really have anything. And I think it's a shame because Jolly J was really good in that battle as
yeah.
well.
Johnny J was good, yeah. But I
I actually
think
spoke to
Disaster.
him yesterday, so he's not a big fan of watching that battle back just because of how it went on the day. But
Yeah. I think if Disaster had turned up really good though, then Jolly J wouldn't have stood a chance. But it's almost like Jolly J wants to lose. Do you know what I mean? I think he might have even said that actually, did he? He said he wants to lose, so that it means to get a good performance out of you or something. So
yeah, I mean, he didn't say it in those words, but yeah, he definitely, he booked Disaster for a reason. He wanted that.
but then again, this is what I mean. You might as well just book them. You might as well give them less money and say, don't fuck about with pretending like you're trying for this. Don't spend 4 evenings and then the hour or two you're in your hotel before the event practicing, because I don't want to hear your shit. Just turn up, piss about, and let people take photos, and I'll pay for your airfare and that's it, type thing. But then you need them
Yeah,
on the card. You need it because to say with special guest Disaster, then that doesn't sell tickets. So it's like, do you want to disappoint people by showing them a subpar product, or just not disappoint them but not sell the tickets and lose money because you paid for them to come over anyway? I guess people know what they're getting. They know they're going to see Disaster and they know they're going to be disappointed. That's the way I look at it. I know I'm going to be disappointed. And that's the thing as well. If you go in there, it's so defeatist, isn't it? Saying, I know I'm going to be disappointed. But if you go in there with that outlook and then it's all right, it's like, oh, I enjoyed that about it. And that's what pisses me off. Because back in the day, King of the Dot, I used to sit there waiting for, I can't even remember their names now. I think there was some controversy. What was his name? OZ beat Jack Shit. Jack Shit was big off the jump off. King of the Dot started. Jack Shit won his first couple of battles. OZ was shit. And it was a tournament, that was it. And in fact, there was a few, I got fucked up in the first round of the tournament versus Token. As did 3 or 4 other big names falling out in the first round. But OZ beat Jack Shit in the first round of this big tournament for loads of money. And it was like, I didn't expect anything out of this battle. This was a run of the mill standard battle. No one expected anything, and it ends up being a battle I still remember and I'm talking about to this day. Neither of them put in a great performance, but it was the fact that you didn't know what to expect, and it delivered in some regards. It's crazy how it's gone full circle. It started off with no expectation, giving you everything, to expecting everything, and ending up with fuck all. It's weird.
Yeah, man, I know what you mean. And the what the final battle rap related question, I'm really interested to hear your response to this, just because, like, I've heard how you feel about UK battle rap as a whole on the battle rap resume episode you did most recently, where, and I completely agree with you that we need to focus on UK battlers and building that up from scratch again.
Yeah.
But I've been asking people, like, if they were a promoter putting on their own event and had kind of unlimited funds available,
Right.
who would you put on the card? Like, is there any battles that you want to see as such, or?
Not really, not really. I mean, for me, battle rap was at its peak when you had a cast, when you had a roster of 20 to 30 people, and every month they were being matched up. So obviously you can't have that same 30 roster of 30 forever. It's like the WWF. It's like the roster constantly changes. But it was like I haven't battled Matter yet, so right, we've got an event coming up in 3 months in Leeds. PAMFLIT, you're battling Matter. Right, cool. Innuendo, Definition has been on the same trajectory as you. You both won your last 3 battles. You two are going against each other, and it was like. But then the next event, Innuendo. Now you're going against this guy. You lost to Definition, and this guy lost to the other guy. So it's like every month, every 4 weeks or 3 weeks, the roster was being shuffled up, and now it's your turn now it's my turn with Villa. Now it's my turn versus Sagoni Fizzle, who was whatever it was, I mean, unanimous, whatever, 1 week or whatever. Everyone was sort of there, so it's almost like I wouldn't be able to pick out an event, but it's like the roster of people. But they'd be my favourites. That's what I mean. They'd be my favourites. It'd be a shuffling around of my favourites. I wouldn't have battles or an event I'd want to put on. It would just literally be. So you could pick them out of a hat. Kruger O'Shea needs to happen again. Do you know what I mean? But then Kruger versus everyone needs to happen. Tenchu versus O'Shea needs to happen. Tenchu versus Kruger would be dope. I'd love to battle Tenchu.
Yeah.
If anything, all I want is a slow build. Let's have a little break. Watch battles, or the kids watch battles. Don't try and be a battle rapper after watching battles for 6 months. Try and be a battle rapper after watching battles for 6 years. Do you know what I mean? That's what we did. That's what we did. Because we had no battle leagues, we had no opportunities. We just watched. We thought about it. We practiced. We come up with ideas before we'd ever done it. And that's the thing, yeah. Because like Jamie T's first album for me was brilliant, right? His second album was nowhere near as good. Now that happens a lot, and the reason that happens is because before Jamie T made his first album, he wrote loads of songs. He narrowed it down. He practiced his set. He went around. Oh, you don't like that song, or you like that song, but you don't like the intro. I'm going to change it. This song, I must finish on this song. So the album must. So by the time he's got that first album, it's perfect. He knows exactly what he's doing when he's releasing it. He's not guessing because he knows what's going on. And that's what I'm saying with battle rappers. They need to. We need to sort of kill it off, which it has been for a while. Let people watch the classic stuff. Let people watch the big stuff and the good stuff and the stuff that isn't a disappointment. Get what battle rap is, because it can either be done well or it can be done crap. Get how to do it well, and then come in 5 years and they can all smash it, and they can all be and as well they're not worrying about what their hands doing good, because that's what Disaster did. That's what Yunnan can do so well. These big guys they have their own style, they have their own dress code, they're unique and they're characters, and it will come back, and then I'll be like, yeah, I'd love to see him versus him versus him. But all the good battles that would have taken place pretty much have taken place now, the ones that I'd want to see.
Yeah, I understand that, man, and it's really interesting hearing you say that in the sense that, like like I said, the first battle I saw was Osh versus Lego, and from the second I saw it, I kind of felt like I was
Yeah,
desperate to be involved and I wanted to try out, but I
yeah,
never have, and sort of 11 years down the line, I've actually applied for the academy, the
yeah.
Premier Battles Academy this year.
Oh, good
Um,
stuff. Are they doing that again then this year? Yeah.
it's a bit up in the air at the moment, I think,
Yeah,
because I don't know if you've seen, but Shotty has basically left Premier Battles now.
yeah,
Briggsy is going to leave after the end of the year, I believe.
yeah.
And we're not, I don't think it's been announced who is going to take it over. I feel like it's going to be Bloodstroke, because
I
Bloodstroke's doing
think
a lot
it's
of his own
Bloodstone.
events at the moment.
Yeah,
Um, and I think Bloodstroke is a good person to have
yeah,
as a
yeah. Definitely. He's
promoter.
got
He knows a
experience.
lot of people and
Yeah.
has a lot of connections. So,
That's
but
Briggs. He can just dip his toe back in if he knows the person who's running it.
yeah, and I think Briggsy has kind of said whoever takes it on, if they ever need help, he's there. He
That
just can't
yeah.
be fully involved in it because he's got so much more going on now, which is
Basically, he's just sick of losing money. That's all it is. He's sick of losing money, and he's sick of putting on events that battle rappers. Not even. How do you expect the fans to show up when the battle rappers aren't even showing up, bruv? And that's the state we're in. Even
yeah,
battle rappers aren't bothered about going to these events now, and that's the state we're in. So it just needs to die off. Stop giving money to people that are going to go back to America and spend all their money in America. Just keep it on a down low for a few years. Let people, and as
yeah,
you said, you've been a fan for a while. Let people be fans of the stuff that's still on there, still available, and just build it up
definitely.
again from the ground up, like a phoenix from the flame.
Something else that really fucking like I will never ever get my head around is like I was talking to P Soldier yesterday. So P Soldier did a grime clash in Russia last year, and
Right,
like it's got hundreds of, I think it's on about 600,000 views
that's
in the
crazy.
space of about 6 months. Like, and I wanted to talk to him about that, and he said, "Do you know what?" He was like, "From what I've been told, I was the fifth person in line to get that booking. They reached
Yeah,
out to four other UK guys that are battlers that are good on grime before me, and they
yeah,
all turned the opportunity down."
yeah.
And he essentially got paid to go and clash in Russia on a massive
Yeah.
platform. It's a
Russia's
free
a bit hit and
holiday.
miss though, because you don't know about because you hear some dodgy things about Russia. Like I can almost Russia's almost like one of the exceptions. It's a communist country for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? They will literally just say, "Nah, you've done this wrong," even if you haven't. I'm surprised Pete took it actually because of the amount of weed he smokes. I don't know what their view is of that. Like,
So he said he was like he'd done too much research into Russia beforehand and was
right,
worried about going because he went on his own as well.
yeah,
And he's now in a like it's his favorite place he's been in. He's
yeah.
been to like Denmark and Norway
That's
and
what I
all
mean.
over as well.
That's what I'm saying though. It's like it's once you get there, like and you're having the best time. It's like yeah, standard. But obviously, it's like it's these the questions you ask yourself. Is this going to be a horror story? Like, am I going to regret saying yes to this? There's parts of London I wouldn't do an event in for fuck's sake.
See,
Uh,
I'm the opposite, man. Like I love traveling. I've traveled quite a lot, and like I've lived abroad for a long time and stuff. And
yeah,
if I was a battler, I wouldn't really give a shit if it was fucking Burnley or fucking Barbados. Like I just
yeah,
like to see new places, and if
yeah. No,
someone's offering to
yeah,
pay for that to happen, that's incredible to me. Like I
yeah,
just don't
definitely.
get battlers not aiming for that and like turning these opportunities down. I just think it's crazy.
The thing is, though, I mean, I can't speak for them, right? I was in a situation, right, and it was like it felt like. every time I wanted to stop battle rapping, a slightly better opportunity would come about. And not just me, because you don't, like Bowski would say, "Oh, I'm definitely not battle rapping ever again. I'm not doing it ever again." And then suddenly the BBC want to film a battle event, and so 1 week later he's right. I'm battling Johnny Nobody because the BBC are involved. But then that footage would never come out, and no one would ever see it. It would be wiped. It would be, and it's like, and was that an opportunity? Do you know what I mean? So it was constantly things being coated as opportunities. And I think after a while, when you get, I used to get phone calls. I got a phone call from some guy from Liverpool saying, "Yeah, I'm Charlie Sloth's best mate. He's given me your number. I'm called Dodgy Dave or something. God bless him." I'm called some crazy Chainsaw Charlie geezer or something. We're doing this massive battle rap and boxing event for charity. We're going to have celebrities involved. You're going to be paid £2,000 each or whatever bollocks. We're going to film some promo like tomorrow afternoon if you're about. Can I come pick you up? Like, yeah. So you get in a car with some random geezer and some great big hench guy, and they're driving you to some gym in Liverpool, and they're talking about kidnapping people. Genuinely, they were talking about kidnapping people, Russian people, and I'm sitting in the back of the car going, "Oh, who have I pissed off that I've ended up here?" But then they do genuinely take you to this gym, and there's kids everywhere, and you're sort of filming boxing or whatever, and then they don't even give you any money at the end of it, and like that's the whole point of it, was to sort of get some. And it's like, and then nothing happens of it, and like, oh, it's all falling through now. And it's like, it was a weird sort of fun, interesting afternoon, which was like great. But at the same time, I rather have wouldn't got into a dodgy person's car and driven to the middle of nowhere just on the promise of being paid £2,000 that never materialises. So I can almost see where people are coming from in that Russia regard, because it did feel like that, where every month when you try to get out and try to be like, "No, I'm not battle rapping anymore," the BBC would be involved, or it'd be Glastonbury free tickets, or it would be, "You're going to be supporting Slaughterhouse next week." But then, do you know what I mean? It's all just, you just start thinking, I need to say no to the next opportunity, because I'll end up out of pocket and sort of sucked of that little bit of creativity that I had left in me.
No, I definitely see where you're coming from, but for me, like, I'm talking about active battlers over here that have turned this
Yeah.
opportunity down, and like I've heard a lot of people have turned down a booking in Denmark and Norway where they're getting paid cash, having their travel paid for,
But then
and the
again,
hotel paid for.
brother,
Like,
you say this, right? You say this, yeah, and there's proof of other people. It's not just me. I was like all for, and to be fair, Sweden was spot on, yeah. But I was all for going to these places, getting paid to travel, getting treated like a celebrity, or whatever, getting looked after all week, and getting your food paid for, getting people buzzing to see you. But then you get there, and then the promoter's worried about the event that's moved places, and he's not sold enough tickets, and you're put in a room. Your hotel is now your mate's flat, because he's not sold enough tickets. He's this guy's mate's flat. She's sat in a flat with a guy that barely speaks English. Who's sort of looking at you, smiling, and sort of weird looking geezer. And you don't understand anything that's going on, and he's watching a crap TV program you're not interested in, and you sort of hint that, "I'm going to the shops," and no one pulls any money out to say, "Here you are." So you go to the shops, and you've got a little bit of money because you're not working, because you're writing battle raps, and you spend sort of money you don't understand on a couple of beers, and then all of a sudden you haven't got any more money, and no one's buying you any beers, and you're sat 3 days in, and you can't afford food, and all of a sudden, because that promoter that promised you the earth hasn't sold enough tickets, now you're in a strange country and you've got no money. And I think a lot of battle rappers have experienced that. Not necessarily abroad. As I say, Sweden was amazing. He paid for my food. He gave anything I wanted, he put in my hand. So I can't say enough bad things about that. And I've had good experiences. Ireland, they flew me over, they looked after me. Shout out Redza. And the same with Holland. I've never had a bad experience actually in that regard. But in England, I have. In England, I've been promised things. You turn up places, and you don't even get bought a drink. And it's like, that's not what we agreed. Or you have to chase them around, like, yeah, I'll buy you a drink. So you get there, and you're like, "Oh, can I get that drink there?" Yeah, 1 minute, and then he sort of walks off. Not just like the all over the country type thing, but you end up sort of following them around the building for like 3 hours, trying to beg for this drink that you've been promised to come and perform at their event. It's mad.
No, I do see what you mean, and like, I guess for me, I'm just thinking of it as a standpoint of if I was booked, say Denmark or whatever, I'd have a little bit of money to go over and like have spending money as well, kind of
But
thing. But
then this is what I mean. In order to get, it's hard to balance. In order to get the opportunity to go and perform at Denmark. And right, let's flip this around and talk about the Americans that are coming to England. If the Americans that are coming to England have got full-time jobs and can support themselves and aren't expecting to be bought drinks all weekend, then and they're concentrating on their home performances so that they get opportunities to come and battle in Denmark or in England. Where's that time going to come from? They have to be unemployed and pretty much just whatever hustling or whatever they do in this imaginary fictionary world of theirs, which basically means robbing people and taking advantage of people. But in order for them to sustain a lifestyle where they can write and perform all this original material, they can't be working, which means you haven't got that extra £20, £30 in your pocket. All the battle rappers, we were all broke. Any battle rapper that had £20 in their pocket to buy other people drinks at an event was a shit battle rapper, and they just didn't sell tickets. It's, you had to be unemployed to be a battle rapper. I think that's the same with any good art, though. I genuinely do. I think in order to be an artist, you have to be unemployed. I think to be a painter, poet, whatever, you have to. It has to be your life. It has to be your passion, and you can't just hang that passion up for 8, 9, 10 hours a day while you go to work because you're knackered when you get in.
no, that's fair enough, man. And, like, when you
Mm.
went to Sweden, then where did you go?
I remember I turned up at the airport. I was at the wrong terminal. I didn't understand anything. Got picked up, and then they'd said they'll pay for my travel and they'll sort me out when I'm here, but there was no mention of a hotel. I think they might have said I could sleep at someone's house or something anyway. I turned up and there was no hotel. I'd not booked anything myself. But Johnny Storm was there as well, and he shared his room with me, which was good of him. He took the mattress off, so he had the box and I had the mattress on the floor, which was lovely of him. So he'll always have my respect for that. But again, it's mad. I was in like Sweden battle rapping with Johnny Storm, who literally I'd been watching his battle since grind time started. So that was
Yeah, of
crazy.
course.
Yeah.
And was it Malmo then or Stockholm or?
It was Stockholm, yeah. Stockholm. Nice hotel. He gave us a bit of bud each. Took us a buffet. Took us to a nightclub. There was some mad nightclub in a abattoir, like a meat. It was called the Meat Factory or something. No, it wasn't called the Meat Factory because that sounds like another sort of club. It was some kind of meat-based thing, but it was that there was an abattoir and then there was a nightclub as well. It was crazy.
Right, okay. I mean, yeah, I lived in Sweden for
Right.
a
Okay.
few years.
Expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. What
What I
I
mean,
mean,
imagine going there on dole money and being expected to
say
buy your
again.
own drink. I say, imagine going there on dole money on £42 a week or whatever it is.
Fair point. Yeah,
You know what I mean,
yeah. That's a good shout, but yeah, man. I never made it to an event in Sweden, unfortunately, because I lived really far up north, and like
right.
most of the events around that time were in Malmo, which is kind
Yes.
of as far south as you can go.
Yeah, I remember
Uh,
O'Shea messaging me one day saying, yeah, there's these people in Malmo, they're just throwing money around. We'll get some. I think he went out there. He battle Thesaurus and Immaculate.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and they booked the weirdest flight for him in the world. I think he was saying it was he flew from like Liverpool to Dublin,
Right.
Dublin to the Isle of Man, the Isle of Man to Manchester, and then
Right.
fucking Manchester to Malmo or something like that, and it took him ages, and like the airline wouldn't let him just get on the flight at Manchester instead, and he had a
Yeah.
bit of a nightmare with it, I think. But
That's what I
but
mean.
yeah, like
It's like you just get to a stage where you're like, as a human being, as a man, as an adult, thinking, do I want to travel around? I mean, obviously, I think that was a huge event, like MOP, all that. That was sort of really worth going to. But you do start thinking, is it worth a good 24 hours of my life just travelling there and back to somewhere to perform for a
No,
crowd.
I can see what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
but there's going to be another explosion, definitely. It's going to all come back again, man. I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm looking forward to being entertained again by it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know what your opinion is, but I was talking to Nugget about this the other day, because I think the Irish scene at the moment is kind of stronger than it
Do you know what I
potentially
think?
than it's ever been.
I think the Scottish scene, I think the Scots have got it on lock more than anyone else. I don't know why there isn't more attention. Bulgy in, I think, is really good. They had a bad performance in his last one against Weedy, but
Yeah.
the fact I even know this means I sat there and watched it. Do you know what I mean? And the reason I sat there and watched it was because I like both of them. I think Bulgin had some great performances before he didn't turn up against Weedy. But then this is what I mean. He doesn't need to turn up every time. But he still had. You could tell that he still had what it took, in my opinion, to be entertaining in a battle rap format. Bulgin. There's a guy called Zebedee who's kind of similar. It's all just
Yeah.
it's all just silly. It's all just like takes on jokes and stuff like that. But I think, honestly, and God bless the Irish, but I honestly think the Scottish are the best. Have got the best scene in the UK, and it's including England. But it's just not being tapped. I don't know why someone isn't like, right. They've got a little. They've got what we had. They've got, as I say, the Zebedee, Bulgin, Weedy. There's about 5, 6, maybe 7, and also the Scottish have got a good voice for battle rap as well.
Yeah.
And then you throw Soul
Obviously,
and you throw Spec in there.
Yeah, Acre as well, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of talent up there, definitely. But for me, like, Scotland kind of falls into the same bracket of the UK, in the sense that the reason I think the Irish scene is so strong is they have one league,
Yeah.
and if you
Yeah.
want to watch battle rap in Ireland, you go to Rap is Full. Over here, it's I feel like we need to kind of create a UK battle rap platform online where everybody uploads their battles to. If people are going to stick to their own events, that's the
Yeah.
only way that it's going to make the scene bigger again. Because, like, Premier Battles is like, not now because they've scrapped the concept, but it was an exception because they were doing something different. Whereas when Don't Flop kind of collapsed, Code Red, Chalked Out, Dub
Yeah.
Scandal, all these leagues were popping up, but just doing kind of the same thing where it was you turn up, you watch 6 battles, you go home, done,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And it just
But then,
made things so unaccessible to people, I
because
find.
the problem was people wanted Don't Flop. They wanted just right. Don't Flop with Er's a dickhead. Allow We'll do Don't Flop still, but we'll call it a different name. And that's not. You can't do that because was Don't Flop. Without a battle league isn't Don't Flop. The Don't Flop is or whatever. So it's not just the talent. It's not just the talent needs to grow. A promoter needs to grow. A promoter needs to learn. A promoter can't just click his fingers. Danny Jack can't just watch for a couple of years and be like, right, I'm going to be now, or Briggsy or whoever. They need to grow with the product like did. They need to learn about man management, about handling battle rappers' egos, and about developing battle rappers' egos, because a battle rapper needs an ego. It's about developing the talent, and it's about growing together. And had that luxury because he was growing with the scene at the time. And I think you can't just put a suit on and say I'm a businessman. Do you know what I mean? You have to grow into it. So these leagues, I think they wanted what Don't Flop had too quickly. The fans wanted what Don't Flop had too quickly as well. They wanted to just keep going to battle events, and it couldn't be that. But in order for these leagues to grow, and it's the same thing I was talking about with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he needs the time. They need the time to grow with the club, with the team, with the battle league, and make a success of it together, and not just be like, right, I'm being a really good manager, but you're a shit team, or we're a really good team, but you're a shit manager. It's like, right, we're all not good enough at the moment. How are we going to get better together? And about following that through slowly as well, not in a year, not in 2 years. And that's what Liverpool did. Liverpool did that really well, actually. I know you're a Liverpool fan, so they did that really well. The manager come in at the right time. You had Salah, you had Mane. They all come at the right time. All the pieces fell together, and it created a successful product that people wanted to see. And that's what we need to do in battle rap.
Yeah, no, I do agree, man. And I found it really interesting in the terms of what you were saying on the Battle Rap Resume episode, where you were saying like everybody needs to come together and turn up and like it's kind of just know their role. Like
Yeah,
Mac Sherry should be excited about starting off a card
yeah,
which leads up to shocks or whatever, and
yeah,
like
exactly.
I
Yeah,
just yeah,
and
I
that's the
completely
comparison
agree
with
with what you're
wrestling.
saying.
Yeah, that's the wrestling thing in terms of it's about putting on the entire show. It's about if you got to know your role. If you're gonna start the event off, you need to do it impactively. You need it, which is why Pedro was so good for that opening slot, because you know you were going to get mass energy out of him, and then that makes the
Yeah,
second match important. That makes the second battle important. And then people go for a smoke break. And if you've got a clever guy doing that second one, and they go for the smoke break thinking, oh, well, my heart rate's pumping because of Pedro, and I just had something to think about. I can't wait to come and see what they've got third. And then third, you stick your disappointment battling. Do you know what I mean? And then fourth, you have another good battle. And it's like, but even then, knew to do that. Knew to do that. You can't just, Danny Jack can't just be like, right, I've seen her do it, I'm going to do it myself. And again, no diss to Danny Jack, but Danny Jack needs to grow with the scene. Like I said a minute ago, you can't step into those shoes. There's so many different things involved in it. Again, was a dickhead to us, but we needed a dickhead. We needed someone who was going to be a knob, who was going to treat us like crap to drive us in the right direction. Because otherwise, we would have taken advantage of him, and then we wouldn't have shown up on that Saturday. We would have gone out and got drunk instead of trying really hard. But because told us, because was disappointed in us, and he was the power keeper, you wanted to be on that next card because you wanted to feel the rush of performing. It was an excitement. It was a buzzy time, man. It was a good time.
I can imagine. And something that I think I'm pretty sure I've heard this. I could be wrong, so correct me if I am. But if it's true, I think it's one of the coolest things that I've heard come from battling, to be honest. But you met your wife at a battle event, is that right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I mean, Moss Prob obviously takes the cake in that regard in terms of proposing to
Yeah,
her for a
sure.
battle event. But yeah, no, I say met her. I saw her. It was at the Jack Sexton one I was telling you about in Newcastle when I was doing all that travelling. But yeah, she was there, and I sort of saw her, and then yeah, ended up following her to the point where she couldn't say no anymore.
It's a good plan, man. But no, I think that's really cool, man. And I love hearing stories like that. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for the battle rap related stuff, man. I've been ending the show with a couple of very quick like music questions and then
Yeah.
three random questions at the end. But in like it's a difficult one, I know, but if you had to pick your number one favorite album of all time, what would you say it was?
Oh, well, someone was talking about this the other day, so I had actually already given it thought. It's about 10, 15 I could actually say are my favourite albums. And the thing is with me, I don't listen to new music. So, like, my favourite albums are my favourite albums. I don't listen to, I will listen to new music, but if I don't like it, I'm not going to pretend I do. I know what I like with
No.
the albums. So I'd say overall, my favouriteest album is probably Use Your Fingers by Bloodhound Gang, because that was like an originator for me in terms of that was one of my first ever favourite albums. So therefore, I think it's probably my best favourite album.
Sure. No, I understand. Blood. I never got into them massively. Like, I
They
remember
were
seeing
too
them.
poppy towards the end.
Right. I
They were
remember
like,
seeing them as a kid and like that video that they did where they were in like the mouse outfits and stuff and or
right, yeah.
whatever it is. But and
It was
then
kind of got more and more poppy as it went. But the first album was basically almost Beastie Boys-esque, if that makes sense, because it was, I don't know when they made it, maybe mid-90s. So Beastie Boys were massive. And it was much more rappy. Yeah, like every album got more punky or more silly. But at the start, it was definitely rap. It was rap. It was white boy rap. It was good.
Yeah, no, nice man. And what would you say is the best live act that you've ever seen, or the best gig that you've attended?
Well, it would have to be. I mean, I saw Eminem. I did Leeds Festival with Eminem. We were on the same
Right,
stage. We weren't really. We were on the same flyer. Well, I wasn't on the flyer, but the stage that I performed at was listed on a flyer that included the word Eminem. The Less Than Jake concert I went to. Less Than Jake are one of my all-time favourites. I love them. I love their album. Welcome to Rockville. I might have said that as one of my favourites because it is one of my favourites, but it's not a favourite, if you know what I mean. But I was at
sure.
their gig. Rachel got me tickets. We were at the gig. We were at the gig, right? Because I'm a little bit taller than everyone. We was in the mosh pit dancing away. I'm a little bit taller than sort of most people. And the guy was like, is anyone from... Oh, we was in Leeds last night. And everyone was booing. And I was cheering. And then they were like, no, but we're happy to be here in Newcastle tonight. And everyone cheered and I booed. And he was like, the lead singer was like, who's that? That dickhead. Get him on stage. So anyway, he dragged me on stage and I was dancing with one of my favourite bands on stage, which you can't like really argue with as being the best experience at a gig ever.
No, that's incredible, man. Fair play. And yeah, yeah, I love that.
I wish I'd left the stage, jumped mosh diving though, stage diving. I ended up getting. I thought if I hide at the back, they'll go off at the end of the gig, and I'll sort of sneak backstage with them. But then the woman was like, "Go down here." So I went down a long corridor and ended up at the back door. So I had to go all the way back in again.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. And I'm 6'6" myself, so I'm
Oh
also
yeah.
pretty much always the tallest person at a gig. Like, but no,
Yeah.
that's sick, man. But the final music question then is like, is there kind of any lesser known artists that you're a big fan of that people might not be aware of?
Uh, Well, I'm not. I'll tell you. I mean, I like Iron Bridge. They were an unknown rap group in England. Iron Bridge. I'd say sort of this. There's so much that's like known and unknown. I don't know who knows what. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I think, oh, this is my favourite group, and no one's ever heard of them. And sometimes I think, who the hell are that? Who the hell are they? And everyone loves them. So it's like I don't really keep up to date with modern music, to be honest.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I've got some obscure sort of music tastes. I like sort of nostalgic albums that take me back to the place where I used to listen to them, you know. I think as you get older, you just sort of fall more and more into nostalgia and re-experiencing things and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, music can be difficult in that sense, in that like I had a work colleague at my old job that was he always said that he was a huge like UK hip hop fan, and like he had all the kind of high focus merch, and
Yeah,
it could pretty much like recite an entire Flip Tricks album or whatever.
yeah,
Like he was really into it. But then the more I got talking to him about it, because like I'm really into it as well, the more I got talking to him about it, finding out that like he had no idea who Rhyme Asylum were, and he'd
yeah,
never heard of Rodney P or Kalashnikov and stuff. And I was like, how
yeah,
the hell do you get into high focus before the
yeah.
original scene? Like, but it's just what's accessible at the moment, I guess, isn't it?
I
So
find the
it's
same with battle rap as well, though. Like, I'll be having a chat with someone who's literally like telling me that they know everything about battle rap, and then I sort of drop a name that I think like they've definitely heard of this guy, and they just look at you blankly, and it's like, people like some people get into things and yeah, they just sort of completely disregard the history. The first thing I do when I get into anything is look back.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, me
Oh,
too, man.
yeah.
But yeah, and I mean, apart from that, I do end the show with three really random questions. But like,
Yeah.
I've I don't know how I found out about this. Maybe you posted it in like the forum or something, but um, I I think I have liked a page which is like your wife is like an independent
Yeah, yeah,
travel agent type thing. Is that correct?
that's correct. Yeah.
Nice. And like, if you could pick one destination in the world for your next trip or holiday, where would you go?
Well, we had bloody Mexico booked. I really wanted to go there. I was really looking forward to going there. We had 2 weeks in Puerto Vallarta, all inclusive. Upgraded plane as well. All the bollocks. And we can't go now, which is just annoying.
Oh man, no, gutting.
So yeah, so we rebooked that. We had Hungary booked for next month. Mexico this month, can't go. Hungary we booked for next month, can't go. We've got Tenerife booked in January, so we're hoping we can make that. But even then, I'm thinking that might be touch and go for then. Uh,
Shit, man.
Australia is my favourite place in the world. Like, if I could go anywhere right now, I'd probably go to Australia. Uh, just have
Yeah,
a
you
watch.
spent like a considerable amount of time there, right?
Yeah, I've been there a few times. I haven't been there in years though, like approaching a decade now. So it'd be interesting to go there for a holiday. I wouldn't want to go and live there again, but just a holiday would be lovely. Yeah. A month, 3 weeks to a month there. Or Thailand, we want to go to. But I just want to get to Mexico. I'm hoping. Do you know what is? I'm hoping there's either a good vaccine or just this antibody bollocks, whatever they're going on about. And once that's all in place, we should be all right. And then we can do what we want pretty much. It's just obviously protecting those that don't have that luxury. We need to,
No, sure,
or mutating and coming back. That's the other worry.
definitely. No, man. Yeah, we've been hit with it ourselves. My mate from when I lived in Sweden was meant to be getting married in
Right.
about 2 weeks' time, and our trip got cancelled. But then he also had to cancel his wedding and or
Yeah.
postpone his wedding at least. And we've
Yeah.
also got tickets for Outlook Festival in Croatia in the summer, which
Yeah.
at the moment hasn't been cancelled, but I'm sure.
Not going to happen.
No,
Just cancel. Honestly, the next 6 months alone, I'm saying this year is a write-off
yeah,
now. Like,
yeah, definitely, man. But yeah, and I was asking people like what their favourite sports team was, but obviously we've kind of got into that already. So the final question, which has divided everybody pretty much, is what's the go-to snack in your opinion?
oh, changes, you know. But before this bollocks, my shop round the corner started selling packs of free dime bars, and I hadn't seen them in ages. So I got in a habit of getting a pack of them every couple of days and just munching through all three of them. Lovely stuff.
Nice. If you
Yeah.
get chance, mate, whenever you go to IKEA next, get yourself a dime cheesecake and yeah,
Oh, right. Yeah.
it'll
Nice.
change things.
I went to my first ever IKEA a couple of months ago.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's one in Cardiff that I go to quite regularly just because it sells like stuff that I miss from living in Sweden. So, but the
Yeah.
dime cheesecakes are, yeah, they're top drawer, man.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah,
but no,
Sweden was lovely, man. I enjoyed Sweden. I'd go back there definitely.
yeah, it's a great country. I'd move back there. I think like I really enjoyed it, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it was cool, man. But no, pamphlet. Like I really appreciate you coming on the show, man, and taking the
It's all
time to
good.
do this. And
I've
and
enjoyed it, yeah.
yeah, it's been good fun, man. It's been good speaking to you. And like I said, I'd be over the moon to see you battling again. So fingers crossed we
Yeah,
get this
man.
sorted sooner rather than later, and the for Pete's sake two can go ahead. But
Yeah, it was
if
good last time. We earned loads of money for charity. Make sure you're donating to charities, especially at this time. Mental health charities, obviously, they're very important, and suicide's a big killer. So anyone out there, if you've got a little league of charities, try and push that one up a bit because you're saving a lot of people.
definitely, man, I completely agree. But yeah, if there's ever anything that you need plugged as well, like I know
Yeah.
you don't make music or anything anymore, but I'm planning to do a couple of different segments on the show where I'm going to do
Sure.
like a weekly feed on battlers' music, because I think it's often overlooked, and
Yeah.
I also want to do like a weekly news show with what's going on around the world in battling. So
Yeah, that could be
anything,
that could be worthwhile. Yeah, because there is a lot of rumours and that news and that bollocks, and as if it's going to be treated as a serious thing, then it could do with that. But as I say, it's yeah, anything we can do. I'm always here for you if you want to have a chat about battle rap.
perfect, man. And yeah, if you ever have any ideas, man, just hit me up, and I'd love to speak to you again. But yeah,
Awesome.
again, thank you for your time, mate. I've really enjoyed it, and I hope you
No
stay
worries.
safe through this weird time.
You too, mate. Stay safe, brother.
Take care, man. Bye bye.
Speak soon, man. Cheers, mate.